I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from Do the Wrong Thing, a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman trying to kill herself. She says, I don't know why I tried to do this, and by way of explanation, tells her life story. We were in book 2. Previously in Do the Wrong Thing, Ava and her friends made fun of schizophrenics. Then Ava worried she was schizophrenic after she hallucinated while stealing a bus ad. She visited a couple art snobs, overdressed for an art student's Halloween party, and started hanging out with an unsavory older man. I've rearranged some segments and changed chapter titles. So now the art chapter ends with 2017 Ava talking about role models and her mother. And then the next chapter is now called Role Model, and it begins when she's writing her nonsense poetry. At this point, where I'm reading from today, we're a bit over halfway through the new Role Model chapter. I don't know if any of that matters, but this first part you guys have already heard. I'm just going to drop in anyway because it follows from where I left off last week. At Monday night's art class, I stare at the model's familiar-looking, brassy, dyed blonde hair. Oh, shit. I take my seat, busying myself with charcoals and paper blood rushing to my face. The guy turns around and we catch eyes briefly, but Michael is giving him instructions and he looks back to Michael. Kevin. I kept running into him around Birmingham. He was always sketching and would look up and smile pleasantly if our eyes met. A few weeks ago, he was sitting on a ledge at Birmingham U. I approached and asked if I could see what he was drawing. He showed me a spread of fat creatures with tiny legs whose heads melded right into their bodies, with elaborate text above them saying, I'm lonely, be my friend. Phrases like from the Sweet Tarts candy. Do you want to go for coffee sometime? I had blurted. Oh, my girlfriend might not like that. I had nodded, fixating on a fat green character gesturing with his fist at the sky. When I looked up, the guy had smiled, warm and friendly, with no hint of reproach or disdain. I'm having an art show, he had said. He pulled out an invite. Come if you're not busy. I went, but not to the opening night. The art gallery didn't compliment his whimsical cartoons, though I recognized that the place, Fulcrum, was hip, underground, and prestigious. Kevin drops his robe and mounts the stand in the middle of the room, back to me. He turns slightly for each pose, allowing each of us to sketch different angles and views. When he turns to face me, he looks me dead in the eyes and smiles. I grin and relax. His expression, again, has no reproach or disdain, only openness and acceptance. Man, his girlfriend is so lucky. And I'm not talking about his body. Print my spoon rhyme / song, whatever, onto white poster board, making each letter a different bright color and style. Loopy, curly, rigid, block, narrow, fat, lowercase, uppercase, backwards, sideways. I used the pastels and acrylic paints I bought for art class along with wax and Laurentian crayons I already owned. I complete it in an afternoon on the coffee table in Susan's living room when she's not home. Susan's never home. I take my work to Philippe. Do you want to put it up in the store? I ask. Around the block is full of colorful hand-lettered signs to indicate the different departments. There's a shoe display 2 aisles in, for example. Old vinyl 45s hang from the ceiling on string attached to each other and to a sign that says Hit Parade of Shoes. You can tell that someone lettered those words and drew the flowers around them with like deeper than fun, love. Someone had made that sign playfully with love. The store is rectangular with the entrance near the end of a long side and the till directly across from it on a raised platform. Philippe puts my poster up behind the till where no one can miss it. Why don't you come back to my house for dinner? Philippe asks as the buzz is wearing off and closing time approaches. His friend Ron, who's usually there all day too, snaps out of his reverie and says, sounding sad, well, I should be off. Philippe and I walk from his store to a quiet street with large houses and big lawns at the edge of the downtown area. At a sprawling brick edifice, partially obscured by trees, he unhooks a metal gate. We walk down a cracked cement slab path, up a wide flight of peeling red stairs to a porch with an old couch sitting on it. Philippe opens a brown door with 6 small panes of frosted glass across the top. A pleasant smell of old wooden building mixed with incense wafts out. He checks his mail from a row of silver boxes, then turns to the door across from them. When he opens it, the incense smell gets stronger. Inside, a burgundy oriental carpet covers most of the floor. A big bay window looks out across the lawn. There's a futon across the room, thrown into a corner near the window. I see a stove, fridge, and old formica table with 2 chairs past the folding room divider to my left. There are no chairs or a couch on this side of the room divider, only large velvet ornate and Eastern-looking pillows. Low, intricately carved tables everywhere, silver statues and knickknacks from India and Nepal, goddesses standing on one leg wearing elaborate headdresses, that kind of thing. I drop my purse and take a seat on a purple cushion. Philippe heads behind the room divider. I hear water run, then he comes back with 2 wet glasses and a bottle of Chianti, which he opens and pours. He calls a Chinese restaurant and orders pineapple chicken and Shanghai noodles. He puts on a record. I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones. When the food arrives, he goes back behind the room divider and returns with 2 wet plates, like the glasses. We sit and eat. Philippe broadcasts stories about his travels. It could be anyone. Afterwards, he makes tea, orange pekoe with milk and a slice of ginger in the pot. He rolls hash into drum tobacco. We smoke. Eventually, he kisses me. It's passionless. I mean, he's an attractive guy physically, or was at one point. Not that I care about physicalness. I know I'm merely another young body to Philippe, but that's partly why I like him. Other guys would try to mask that, but he doesn't. He looks at my form, my face, tells some self-deprecating, grotesque story about sticking his ass out of a window in Afghanistan and spraying the street with diarrhea because he doesn't have a toilet. How many times has he told this story? His disinterested, studying my face delivery, watching what words will cause my jaw to drop or tighten or my mouth to curve. He doesn't pretend to care. I like that. Gerald and Carolyn think I'm going to get hurt. And the girl from last year's Brit Lit class, the one with the good teeth who looks like she should be in commercials, who was so impressed when I was going out with Julian, she would curl her lip in disgust at Philippe. The thing is, I'm as detached about Philippe as he is about me, and it feels good.